Do you know what's happening today? We just hit over 200,000 subscribers. Oh yeah, it happened right here on this channel. Who knew that anybody would want to listen to me ramble about real estate? Over 200,000 of you. Wow, I can't thank you guys enough. I can't thank you guys enough. And for your kindness, what do? I end up scheduling the stream a half an hour early and not show up on time. So crazy. Who cares though? Anyways, we are going to be talking about the real estate market and how sellers are dropping their prices. I've had in my comments section, people going absolutely bananas saying, this is it. The sellers are, taking huge cuts. This is the sign of the crash. I had this one guy going back and forth with me several times talking about how the market is definitely churned. We're definitely in a crash. It's happening right now. You won't know it until it's, before it's snowballed. But I'm going to be showing you, I'm going to be going over an article. I'm going to be showing you some statistics that will literally, like the hard statistics of right now. I'm not saying, and I'm going to point blank say this, I'm not saying that we'll never, ever have a housing crash. That would be incredibly stupid. I'm just saying at this moment in history, we are not in a housing crash. There is no market in the United States that's in a housing crash. Not one market. Is there areas getting price reductions? Absolutely. Were there a bunch of sellers that were over ambitious? 100%. 100%. There still are. And we're going to be going over that a little bit. I have a friend with me. You guys already know her. Tanya Cool, who is cooler than the other side of the pillow, from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. She's gonna be our guest today, and we don't have Eddie, the producer. I don't know where he's at. I can't find him, and I was going to tell him that we're going to start early. Couldn't find him. Looked all over the house. Eddie has disappeared. Hopefully, he didn't pass out from the heat, because I don't know about you, Tanya, but it is freaking hot. Is it hot?
It is, and it's muggy, and it feels like Louisiana all over again.
It doesn't feel good. It does not feel good. I highly do not recommend this heat for anybody. We've been feel like temperature has been over 111. I don't like it. Kristina does not like it.
Yeah. Nope.
So, Tanya, tell us a little bit about your real estate market there in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania right now.
So everyone is saying crash, and it's not. That's plain and simple. It's just not. We're seeing price adjustments above $1.5 million, longer days on market, but I just sold a house at $265,000, which is the market average. Still had 6 offers, 4 of them over asking price.
So pre-pandemic, what was the average days on market?
It was around 40, I think, 40 or 60. Like now I'm saying that's until it got under contract.
Right. From the time it was listed to the time it went on pending. We were between 45 to 60 days. The 45 to 60 days, that's where we are. And then people are like, oh, that house has been on the market for 30 days. I'm like, that's still under. Still under the average. So yeah. So I wanted to point out this article really quick, and we're going to go ahead and how can you not have a producer? I don't know where he's at. He'll pop on here at some point. Jerry. I know. I don't even know what happened. All right, here we go. These are the 5 markets where home sales are cooling fast. Sellers need to be realistic about prices. This broker says, yes, of course. Sellers have been really crazy, really, really crazy. After a frenzy of bidding wars in the U.S. housing market starting to cool, particularly along the West Coast, as mortgage interest rates rise, that's forcing some sellers to adjust. Sellers have to be more realistic. Several Western markets are cooling fast, with San Jose, California topping the list, according to Redfin analysis, based on the median sales price, inventory changes, and other housing data from February to May. Low mortgage rates in recent years have fueled the demand in many markets, causing some to overheat, explained Redfin's chief economist. I'm going to say that I bet Phoenix, Arizona is going to make this list at any moment. Those markets have had more than a swift return to earth now that mortgage rates are high. With the 30-year fixed rate mortgage interest rates were around 3% at the end of December, those rates have jumped up to nearly 6%. They've been teetering under 6% for at least 4 weeks now, as the Federal Reserve hikes its benchmark to fight the rising inflation. This is the top 5 markets that are cooling fast. And the one that wasn't on there was Phoenix, Arizona, which would surprise me. San Jose, California, Sacramento, California, Oakland, California, Seattle, Washington, and Stockton, California. The other ones were the housing markets cooling the slowest, which is Albany, New York, El Paso, Texas, Bridgeport, Connecticut. Okay. Lake County, Illinois, and Rochester, New York. Oh, it's slowing the coolest. Oh, I don't know if anybody knows, but I've been looking at Rochester as a place to possibly relocate to. We're all seeing a slowdown and some pullback, especially in the higher ends. And indeed, the high dollar homes in areas such as Northern California have a harder hit if the 30-year mortgage rates approach the 6%, the Redfin analysis says. But we're seeing that too. The higher end homes, I don't know about how it is for you, but the higher end homes are sitting a little bit longer, like those 600,000 to 700,000, but they always sat long before this. I mean, like not many people in my area can afford that kind of house. With a 6% interest rate, a $1 million home with a 20% down payment may cost $1,400 per month. That's without insurance. No way would it be $1,400 a month.
Mm-hmm.
My God. Then it would be a 3% according to the report. It's enough to make somebody decide to rent or move somewhere else. Advice for buyers is to be strategic when pricing your home. Okay, now we're going to take that off. All right, we're going to talk some more here. All right, my friend. Well, let's do this. Okay, so in my comment section, right after this is published, I have the big, I would say the housing crash fanboys, because they watch a lot of videos and they hear a lot of people discussing a housing crash. It gets them a lot of clicks and a lot of views. But you, my friend, sent me something. What did you send me?
3 infographics on Tuesday, and I was like, look at this. It's not slowing. It's just simply not. And we actually crested, while you look for that, we crested an important threshold last week where our days on market for $1 million plus homes in Pittsburgh finally returned to February 2020 levels, the pre-pandemic levels. That doesn't mean it's dipped below. It is just sitting right there. And we have not seen slowing below $1 million.
Right. And here's the thing. Here's the numbers. We're not making this up. These are not coming from us. We're not manipulating any charts. This is where a recession doesn't equate a housing crisis. This is during the last 6 recessions, 1980, 1981, 1991, it went to negative 0.9, 1.9. And then it doesn't necessarily correlate. The last recession that we had was due to housing because of bad loans. So of course it was going to go negative 19.7%. Of course it was. Too many people got a mortgage that shouldn't have. Bad, interest only, ARMs. What else did they have? They had all sorts of stated credit. I mean, there was just so many
credit. Oh,
yeah, stated credit, terrible lending practices, and of course that's made the housing market drop. Okay, this is where this is the second infographic you gave. Tell us about this one.
So look at the seller's market. We still have too little inventory. So it's not a buyer's market until there's more than 7 months of inventory. We have 1.7 months of inventory. So look at the far right, everyone. Green, 1.7 months of inventory, what we have. Seller's market is still less than 6 months of inventory. That's to sell all the houses that are currently on the market. We are all the way at the bottom. Okay, we're not even in a neutral market. And Kristina and I want a neutral market. That's just not reality. This is from CoreLogic, which is the biggest data metric center of United States real estate.
If I'm looking at data, I look at CoreLogic and I look at Black Knight Analytics. Those are my 2 favorite when it comes to housing. if anybody wants to look these up yourself, so to know that we're not manipulating anything, because I get accused of that as well. The other thing is that now this isn't just for your specific area. This is for the whole entire nation, correct?
Correct. That's right.
Okay.
Yep.
And this was something I found pretty interesting. I want to show this because I have a lot of people in all different, different ages when it comes to how much, like how people want to work from home. And I'm like, I want to work from home. They're like, nobody, all the young people want to work from home because they're lazy. But it looks like it's all the people my age that want to work from home. the young people are like, no, I want to be in the office.
When I sent you this, I was totally shocked because if you had asked me, I would have said very confidently, remote workers who want to work full-time from home, it has to be over 50% in every age bracket. It has to be. I was shocked to see 20 to 29-year-olds at 24%.
All right, let me ask the audience here. How many of you want to work from home? And like, give me a range of your age. You don't have to say your age. You can say if you're in your 50s or in your 40s or in your 30s. You know, how many actually want to work from home? Let me know in the comment section because I'm going to go ahead and put this out here. So, and the other thing too is if you have a question about real estate, I'm totally running this on my own. I'm doing a pretty good job, that I have to admit it. Make sure you put your question in the chat. Oh, did someone? I think Eddie showed up because I didn't even click it. Eddie must have shown up. He did. He showed up. He must have ran into the kitchen. He must have ran into the kitchen and heard me talking and was like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
Oh, here we go. People in the chat. Yep.
Yep. Yes, please. 55. Yep. I got to get out of my house. Some people feel like that, and I don't want to be around people. Yeah. I personally like working from home because because I make videos, they think I know everything about computers. Like they're like, hey, I can't get into my Facebook account. What does that have to do with me? And so inevitably all day long, I would go into the office and I was like the tech person and they always wanted me to fix things. And the thing they always said, they'd say, Kristina, come see, which is Kristina, come fix this thing I don't know how to do. And I want you to do it for me.
Yep.
Look, 27. Nope. You want to work at home or you want to work in the office? I didn't catch if you want to work in the office. Yes. Yeah, she wants to stay at home. 50s. Yep. I prefer home. Yeah, I prefer home. But like I can't do it. People bother me. Like not intentionally. Like they just like, oh, they want to show me something. Even my kids, like they mean well, but they, I'm like in the middle of filming and then she's like, oh, come taste this new drink I made.
Which is also, as the chat is showing and the infographics are showing, why the commercial office space market across the country and in Pittsburgh is the office occupancy rate is less than 50%. That just came out on Thursday. I was like, what? In Pittsburgh, it's like, yikes.
Lawnmower says, let's just say my goddaughter is 42. So that's where he's guessing. We're guessing his age from there. I work from home if they pay enough. Yeah, I would work from home too. You know what? I was thinking about this because the economy has totally changed from the pandemic. I mean, it has changed employers' mindsets on this. I'm wondering how much commercial real estate, and I'm not a commercial real estate agent, so I'm not even going to pretend that I know anything beyond the surface of commercial real estate. But I'm wondering how much that could be affected in the next year or so, because so many employers have these gigantic buildings, right? And if half their company is working from home, what are they going to do with all these buildings? Because they're kind of pointless and they're expensive to run. The insurance liability, the
biggest employer in Metro Pittsburgh, who I will not name, but they have 9 floors of office space in the steel building, and they got rid of them in October of 2020, and they still have no official plan. I have a neighbor who's involved in those decisions, and they have no plan for bringing people back. A lot of people back. Obviously not the people who work in the hospital, but it's a conglomerate system where there's a lot of, You
mean they fired them?
No, everybody's working from home and they don't want them to come back.
Okay. When you said don't come back, I'm like, and that's the whole thing about the housing thing that I'm like thinking. I keep saying, I say that the only way that we're going to hit what I would say crash, which is your house is now worth less than you owe by a significant amount, is if the jobs market goes to garbage. Like if it tanks, let's just say tanks, in the, those jobs market starts coming out and then those numbers start decreasing by quite a significant amount, like it did in the last housing collapse. We're going to see a lot of people putting their houses up for market, but a lot of them have a lot of equity in it. So it still is going to take time. When do you think that people were going to see the biggest price reductions of homes that, well, how long do you think it's going to be in your area before you see the really big price reductions?
Well, I don't think that we're going to see price reductions because Pittsburgh is still absorbing people from the other tech sectors. We're still absorbing people from San Francisco and Austin, Texas. Being that people are still continuing to move here for their work from home jobs, specifically in tech, I think there may be a flat position, but I don't anticipate going down. If you get, instead of getting 6 offers on a house, if you get 2, and I looked at all the 6 offers, 4 of them were putting 20% down or more, and 2 of them were putting 50% down or more. And some of it was their money, some of it was cobbled together with their parents, their relatives. So there's still a lot of people, and this is a modestly priced $250,000 ranch house, suburban, nice school district, very typical 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath. I don't see that we're gonna go down. I think that Kansas City, Missouri, I think that Omaha, Nebraska, I think that Pittsburgh, these mid-sized cities, Baton Rouge, are going to continue to absorb work from home people and have their values stable.
I say we're going to see the great stagnation. Like we're just going to see home prices just remain flat for like 2.5, 3 years. That's what I think. Some markets are going to get hit. I cannot, in my brain, cannot fathom that Phoenix, Arizona can maintain their prices as they have been. I'm not a Phoenix, Arizona agent. I'm not proficient in Phoenix, Arizona. I looked at the rate of how quickly those houses rose and how much they have been building. They do have a lot of new construction, unlike our area. And so I'm thinking, I don't know. I don't know if they can hold on to those prices. I think that one's going to have a problem. And somebody else told me Las Vegas. I'm not 100% sure on that one. I'm not betting the horses on that one. But last time there was a housing crash, Vegas got hit really hard, really, really hard. But the difference is, though, the people that have been investing in some of these areas do have a lot of cash that they're putting down, like a lot. Like I've seen more cash in this last bubble, if you want to call it that, than I've ever seen. People putting down significant amounts of money. Not just the fact that like they're putting the 20% down, they're willing to pay so much more over asking with cash. I'm like, are people stuffing this crap underneath their mattress? My God, where's it all coming from? I guess because I work with so many people that are like trying to find their first home, or they need that equity out of their first home to buy their second home. It was shocking to me how many people are like, oh, we'll just give them 60,000 over asking price without even sweating. Like I would have been crying. Right. Like, I don't know if we should be doing this. I'd be freaking out. I don't understand where it's coming from. I had some people cashing out in 401ks though.
And I did that. I saw that too. People and they made the decision independent of me. They cashed out their 401ks, and I believe they have 60 days to backfill it. So they'd cash it out and then backfill it with a cash out refinance owner occupant mortgage on the back end.
Oh,
I like to call that fake cash.
No, that's creative financing. That was actually pretty smart. Yeah, my buyers did not do that.
Of course, of course there's not a 0% chance that it won't work out. But they usually do it within a week of closing. So they have it all lined up ahead of time.
Wow. You have to have really good credit for that to pull that off, right?
I mean, good. I wouldn't say none of them had mediocre credit, but none of them were stellar either.
Oh, what's stellar to you? 716 above?
I think 780 is stellar now. I think.
Oh, okay.
So it was like I think they were all above 700.
Yeah.
So
200K.
not,
Yay! What is it celebrated? Thanks to 100,000 subscribers. Eddie doesn't realize I did a little dance at the beginning with a little blah, 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 blah. I did a little dance. Yes. Thank you, Jerry. Yes, 200. Oh, he's flashing it. That's his animation right there. Stop. There might be people that have sensory issues. Don't do that. And she's got my cup too. All right, let's get to the questions. Nobody wants to hear us ramble about real estate anymore. They need their questions answered. My daughter's home. She's cooking dinner tonight. My daughter, who's stealing her cat that I cried about the other day. My job will not let me work less than 40 hours a week. Sad. I want to be healthy and work-life balance. You know what? That is a real thing. Like the work-life balance is a true, honest thing. And like honest, this is no lie. If you go to Europe, we work way more than any other country, like a lot more. And, people I always thought it was terrible because right after like 8 weeks, I had this, I had a brand new baby. I mean, like this thing needs me for everything. And they're like, you can go back to work. I'm like, she's only 8 weeks old. She can't even lift her head up, and you want me to throw her in there with a bunch of snotty nosed brats? No, I'm not doing this. This is the most precious thing in my life, and you want me to go back to work, but other countries are like, oh yeah, you get 3 months off. I was like, I would have been much more comfortable for 3 months. Even if it was half pay, just to spend more time with my kid. But we will work you to death. You go back to work, feed the economy. Damn it. No childcare for you. We're not going to help you pay for that either. Get back to work.
Unbelievable.
Back to the coal mines. Miss Shadow Lava says, do you think Tampa market will increase, flatten, or dip? Flatten. I think it's going to flatten. Tampa has a lot of good things going for it. I don't know if you know this, but I used to live in Florida, in Central Florida. Tampa did very well during the last housing crash, and they had some significant price drops, but they never fell out to the bottom. Orlando did worse than Tampa did. They came around much more unscathed because of the amount of industry they do have around there. I think Tampa is going to be fine. It will have the great flattening. I think that's what's going to be, the great flattening. Same with Miami. I don't. Yeah,
I'm going to disagree on Miami because they're really, really pushing in the tech industry. I hear chatter about Miami every week in Pittsburgh. Oh, Miami can offer this. Miami can offer this. And in Pittsburgh, what do we hammer home every single time? Our affordable housing. Exactly.
But you're freaking cold. It's like you don't have to shovel heat. Who the hell wants to shovel snow? Nobody. It sucks.
But who can afford Miami real estate?
I know, but I mean, you got to weigh it all out.
Fly in the ointment.
I'm not allowed to use the S word. What is the S word? What did I say? Stagnation? Is that the word? The great stagnation? Maybe. I mean, it's very possible. I mean, like that is if the jobs market continues to kind of stay where it's at, I cannot see anything making it crash, possibly stagnation. Now, I was shocked to find out how many people actually had those secondary kind of weird kind of loans, kind of, you know what I'm talking about? Like those ARMs. And
yep.
I was surprised. I was shocked. There's a good number of Americans that have those kinds of loans. But most of them, believe it or not, are like small investors. Like Eddie and I have one of those on one of our rental properties. It's not that big of a deal. It's all a write-off, it's all penciled out. We know what we're doing here. We know what we're doing.
True.
Yep. Dee said, 1776 said, wouldn't it be great if these empty office buildings were turned into housing? Dee actually have done videos on this before. I think we are wasting away mall space. Do you know how many malls across the across the United States that are just sitting there vacant? I mean, for like some of them have been vacant since the 80s and late 90s and everything, just sitting there. And they could have turned all of that either into senior living, because it's all, most of the time malls are on one level. Sometimes they're on two levels, but a lot of them are on one level, especially in small towns. You know as well as I do, when we were growing up, we had the mall walkers. They're people, elderly people. They're sitting there, they're mall walking, right? So if you could turn if you could turn those spaces into like healthcare for the elderly and then condos for the elderly, I mean, that would be the best assisted living area ever. Ever. And the building's already there, the plumbing's already there, the electricity's already there, the parking's already there. That could be fantastic because the parking lot's so big, right? You could have nursing staff and everybody else live right there outside the mall but nobody listens to me, you know. I have the idea, I just don't have the capital. If I had the capital, man, I'd be all over that. Like white on rice, as they say. You know? Then that's the expression. Next question, Eduardo. If he hasn't stepped away from the computer, sometimes he runs away.
Eduardo, hola.
Yes, Eduardo. He's doing good. I don't know if anybody knows. Like you probably don't know this, but I had a big giant spot in my tooth, and I got it finally fixed this weekend. I'm so elated because I felt like everybody could see it. To me, it looked like a piece of pepper stuck in my teeth at all times. And so when I would laugh or smile, not on camera because no one can see it, but when I would laugh or smile, I do this thing.
Aww.
And I talked my dentist into fixing it because he was like, it's just a stain. I'm like, but it's a stain that looks bad. Yeah. Totally off the topic. All right. Johnny Johnson says, question, with Seattle home prices changing, will that affect the Tacoma rental market? That is a question I have no earthly idea how to answer. I know nothing about Seattle, Washington, or any of that Tacoma area. All I know is that rental prices continue to increase on average throughout the United States to this day. They are crazy expensive. And it leaves people in a predicament that, like, there's some people that live in an area that they don't intend to ever do anything but rent because they move often. Like they have a job that takes them from city to city, and they have no choice. Like they're not going to buy a house. They even if they could, the interest rates are too high right now. So you have home prices that are too high, and you have rent prices too high. For some people, they're completely priced out. And I've showed articles and some video clips of some people being literally kicked out of their homes, becoming homeless because they couldn't afford the rent. And the landlords could give two flying flips if that happened. Corporations that have taken over some of these real estate markets, like Phoenix, like Austin, have manipulated the prices so high that they have no choice. Now, I heard from somebody saying, well, real estate taxes for property taxes have increased so much because the home prices have increased. So they had to pass that on to the home renters. Even if that was the case, your property taxes did not increase 35% from the year before.
Yeah.
It did not increase 35% from the year before. You are trying to take advantage of people. There are landlords that are doing that. And the biggest landlords, of course, are the ones that are doing it the most, you know, those Invitation Homes, Tricon Homes, those companies. They're killing people. And then you add inflation onto everything. There's a medical cost down to everything. Like, it's brutal. This is crazy. Every time I turn around, I'm like, ugh. Tanya's back. I was about to file a missing YouTuber report. Do you YouTube?
A missing YouTuber report. That cracked me up. Do I what? No, I don't.
You don't.
I know.
Why don't you YouTube?
I need to start. It's actually on my Q3 to-do list. Like I actually.
You're in my YouTube real estate group, and you don't YouTube. I'm gonna have to kick you out until you start a YouTube channel. For everybody in the chat that says that Tanya needs to start a YouTube channel, put yes. Write yes in the chat right now. See,
peer pressure. Peer pressure.
Totally. Come on, Tanya. Everybody's doing it. Don't you want to be part of the cool crowd?
Oh my god.
See, yes. Everybody's starting to say yes already.
Oh,
that's
too
it.
Funny. Too funny.
Okay. Clementina Reynolds says, oh, I love your name. Question, Huntsville, Alabama voted best place to live in the United States. Will this part, will that part also flatten? I think every real estate market is going to have a flattening. I mean, no matter how, I mean, honestly, unless they have an influx of industry going to their area, I can't see that any of them. Now, when I say flattening, I'm still saying like, normal housing market goes 3 to 6%. So a flattening market would go up 1 to 2%, right? So that could be possible for Huntsville, Alabama. Um, but I'm not seeing, you're not going to see 9, 10, 15, 23% increase, 35% increases in any of these real estate markets for the next several years. It's just, we just can't, it just isn't going to happen. As much as sellers would love it to happen, it ain't going to happen. Economy in Huntsville, Alabama. This is Eddie on it. Eddie's back. Huntsville, Alabama has seen a job increase by 3.6% over the last year. Future jobs growth over the next 10 years is predicted to be 40.9%, which is higher than the U.S. average of 33.5%. Wow. When was this report done, Eddie? I still say it's gonna go up nominally. It's not gonna be 10, 15%. I just don't see it. I mean, I'm not like I'm looking at my crystal ball. This is my prediction. So you can see, look at how many people are saying yes, by the way, Tanya.
I promise I'm actually meeting my videographer in 2 weeks, the one who actually like shoots my houses and videos my houses, and we're gonna talk about it and getting me set up as a producer because I don't have an Eddie. So
Eddie literally, this is the only thing Eddie does is put the questions on the screen. He doesn't do any filming for me. He doesn't edit anything. You don't need anybody to do.
I'm not a thumbnail genius like you.
Eddie does nothing.
Except for putting questions on the screen.
Eddie does nothing.
Yeah.
Hi, Eddie.
Yes.
Too funny. Oh, yeah, everybody's saying yes. Peer pressure.
Eddie. Yeah, but I'm like, Eddie, do a poll. Eddie, do a poll. Yeah, everybody, look at Kristina's face. What's wrong with my face? What's wrong with it? Oh, speaking of that, I got the funniest comment.
No, not somebody mean, not the mean tweets. No.
Yeah, I got a comment that said, they go, purple hair, and then they put JC, and I put, I didn't know that Jesus had purple hair. Thank you for letting me know that. That's something I didn't know before because I'm snarky. Snarky McSnarkerkins.
Eddie's just answer that way too.
Eddie's is just a toy boy. Yeah, well, I say Eddie's a kept man. He's very, very well kept. He's a good guy and an awesome dad. Ask his kids, man. He spoils them rotten. If you could put up another question about real estate, because nobody wants to hear us rambling anymore. S says, when are Tanya and Kristina doing their next in-person video? When are we going to do our next in-person? Last time we did Boxable.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that, I mean, definitely for sure November when we come back to repair the roofs, because everyone remembers my husband works in the roofing industry, but possibly before then.
Well, if we have a big storm here that
oh no, even if there's not a storm, we're coming because there's still a backlog.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So is there a backlog on roofing materials still in the construction industry?
No, a little bit. Like there's a lag, but it's not like it was. It's pretty much all cut up.
Okay.
Like if you need something special, like special brass gutters or something, there still is, but generally speaking, no.
Okay. John has a question. Says, living in Miami, if I was working in Pittsburgh, I would only work from home. Yeah, right? Because it's freaking cold. I'd order everything. Like I would DoorDash. I would have my groceries delivered. Like there's no way. I mean, don't get me wrong. And Pittsburgh's gray. Like it's a very gray town.
It is. I admit, and that's what I tell people who aren't from Seattle or the Pacific Northwest. I say, just so you know, I want you to research the number of cloudy days that are in Pittsburgh and make your decision accordingly. And some people are like, I'm fine with it, and that some people are like, I'm totally endorse people, and some people are like, let me reassess. But yes, it's definitely, we have as much cloud cover as the Pacific Northwest. This is true.
When I was younger, there was a bunch of paper mills there, and I used to think that the gray clouds was from the paper mills.
Aww. So
I don't know if
crazy.
anybody's driven past their paper mill before, but that is not the most pleasant smell in the whole entire world.
No.
All right, next question. Yeah, they smell like death. You think you ran over something, but then after the 4th mile, you're like, nope. Question. By the way, on the rental market, are we over are we over that pandemic you don't have to pay rent thing? Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Oh,
Mhm.
like for almost 2 years now.
Mhm. Yeah, and
Oh,
there were some judges that were a little bit like, "It's still a pandemic." There's one judge who I will not name them, but when the CDC said that ends, this judge in Allegheny County was like, "Not for us, it doesn't," going out and making laws on their own, and so Pittsburgh actually had a delayed, return to that, but it's been well over a year.
yeah. And I have to tell you, I have to ask this because this was the funniest thing I'd ever heard in my life. Somebody said that the reason why people can't pay their bills, it isn't because of inflation. It's because well, I'm not even gonna get it. Never mind. I'm just skip over it. Go ahead, go to the next question because I'll call myself out on this.
No, Jerry, everybody's paying, and if you're not paying, then you got to go.
Have we mentioned BlackRock yet? Do you see? Did I see they missed their Wall Street numbers, or what does that mean? All right. So when it comes to the rental and housing market, BlackRock is probably one of the smaller of the big guys. Blackstone, on the other hand, they own a lot. There's nothing going to happen to BlackRock, and nothing's going to happen to Blackstone, just like it didn't happen the last time. They make bad investments. They say, oh no, if we fall apart, the whole economy will fall apart. If you let us fail, we'll all fail. And we never let them fail. They're too big to fail. These banks get money all the time. It's gross. Yeah, they're not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere. It doesn't mean anything. And they have BlackRock has more investments other than real estate. They have investments in every aspect of the world. Anything you can think of, they have their hands in it. And whenever you're like looking to see like a company that's all of a sudden gone public that you'd never heard of before, you start digging back who sits on their board, and sure enough, there's always some member of Blackstone or BlackRock or Vanguard that's sitting on their board every single time. You're like, oh, it's like they're maniacal. And
Yeah,
they're
I
not
agree.
nice people. They're not nice people. Like they literally give 2 flying flips about the little guy that's trying to make it in this world. All they care about is money. They're super greedy, super mega greedy. I mean, that's my assessment. I don't know them personally, but that's what I've gathered from some of their press releases. And it's funny too, because the way they word it, they make it seem like they're doing all this great stuff, and I'm like, that is a
Favorite video you did. That one where you're saying they said this and then they did this and you juxtapose them. That was my favorite video of all time that you've done. If anyone's listening, go watch Kristina's. What do you remember the title of it?
It was just something about BlackRock or the American Greed, probably American Greed.
Yep. I actually listened to it twice, which I'm not a double listener. The first time was casually. The second time I was like writing things down. I was like, yes.
Yeah, it's shocking. It's actually shocking how much they really basically own most of the United States. There isn't anything that you put in your house that has had nothing to do with BlackRock, that's for sure, or Blackstone. Everything in your house in one way or another went back to them. It's crazy. All right, next question, Eduardo, if you could please. I appreciate it. I still think the best screen name is Utter Bullspit. That's his screen name. Every time I see it, Lawnmower and Utter Bullspit. Those are some great screen names. Eddie's finding a question for us. Here we go. And then says, our renter realizes she's paying too low rent, but hasn't made a spreadsheet to show expenses so we can negotiate a raise in rent. She's a keeper. And that is 100% what my husband and I do. 100%. Because we could get a mint on one of our houses because it's large. She had a group of roommates that were living in that house that were helping her pay the rent. She's been such a good renter, maintaining the house, making sure the lawn's mowed. Even her dad comes over whenever we had a storm, like came over and helped us fix fences and stuff. Like, we are not getting rid of this renter. So she's like, but I can't afford this rent with these roommates. And he's like, look, this is what I have to make. This is how much my insurance is. This is how much my payment is. If you can pay me this, we'll take it down to that, but I can't go any lower than that. And she was like, okay. And we're like, yeah, because we know that she's going to maintain the place. That is, to have a good renter is worth their weight in gold. To get this money, this greedy money up front, like, oh, I made all this money, and then your renter's trash and trashes the place, because we've had trashy renters too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that sucks. That sucks so bad because they can ruin stuff. This woman that was renting from us broke the refrigerator, took everything out of the refrigerator, knew that we couldn't get in the house because of eviction laws here, took everything out and laid it all over the house. And we had rats this big. I'm not joking. This big, running around the house.
Gross.
Holy, retired with bills, $50 super sticker. Wow, that is the most generous super sticker I've ever received on this channel. Thank you. Yes, congratulations. Actually, it's congratulations to you guys for helping me get to this point.
Aww.
I don't know if you know this, but I never ask anybody's to subscribe. I want them to feel like I gave them enough information that they would want to subscribe. I have over 31 million views to my channel. And the fact that you take your time with me, to spend time with me, that's all I need from you, really. Like, all I really want you to do is to enjoy my videos and watch more videos. That makes me very happy. The subscribers are nice, and I love that you guys feel like you want to subscribe, but I never want to force anybody to subscribe or tell them to subscribe. I want them to want to do it. So the fact that I've gotten here it's super exciting. It's super exciting. I started this channel. If you go back, I used to wear wigs. I used to act out like all these different characters of terrible people I had worked with in the past. It was like therapy. And that's how I started on YouTube. I was parroting all the bad clients I had in the past, which was hysterical because the people that were watching the videos, I'm like, they're going to know that's them. They had no clue. They had no clue.
People are blissfully self-aware.
Yeah. Margaret Smith says, will buyers have to that use VA loans continue to have problems? No, they are not. They are not. And in military towns, like in Maryland and stuff, it's pretty common. And so even with the hottest markets in a military town, that people were still willing to accept VA loans. Now, like in my market, and I'm not really sure about Pittsburgh, but in my market, VA loans were like, no one was even looking at them. No one was even looking at them. But now they are. And even builders who were not giving any incentives whatsoever, they're giving incentives again. $6,000 in closing costs. They're even giving real estate agents bonuses of $3,000 if they like get a house written up in there for like in the next 30 days or so. They have like a June promotion for real estate agents, which I hadn't seen in over 2 years. So that's great. They're also doing upgrade packages. That's in my area. But I will say this about the home builders too. I don't know if you saw that report, but last month they reduced the amount of homes they were building by 14.5%, which is a problem because we're short in the United States over 5 million homes. And what they count on to increase that is home builders. But home builders are like, I'm not going to build if I'm not making any money. Why would I do that when there's less people interested? I don't want to take reductions on my house. on my houses. So they're scaling back how much they're willing to build. So this is going to be an ongoing problem for a long time. A savage scientist who's from Baton Rouge right here says, with a $5.73 super chat, says, congratulations, it's on 200K subscribers. You are the GOAT. I remember when I had more subs than you. A lot of laugh. My money is limited. Hey, you know what? I remember that too. It wasn't that long ago. I only started in 2017. It seems like that was a long time ago. It wasn't that long ago. Yeah, we're short. We're short a lot of homes, and builders are not willing to build them. Smash that freaking like button. Like it's going out of style. Like it's going out of style, man. Smash it.
VA buyers in Pittsburgh, Kristina, have been doing well throughout the pandemic if they're strategic about it. I actually helped a couple who follow your show and reached out to me, and they were VA buyers, and I just explained you need an appraisal gap coverage. You're willing to pay X dollars over the appraisal gap, and they did a 0% down VA loan, and they had a portion of closing costs, and they offered a little bit of appraisal gap coverage, and they're thrilled with the house and they beat out 5 other offers. The offer was the best written. The listing agent told me that. So it's just a matter of being strategic with it.
That's when you have to have a real estate agent that knows the contract. I mean, the house is one thing, the structure of the house is another. That's the inspection part of it. But when you hire a good real estate agent, they have to know that contract like the back of their hand. The wording means a lot. And every single year here in Louisiana, I don't know how it is in Pennsylvania, but our state contracts, it's like they want to know that you know what you're talking about because they change it every single year. They change some of the wording in mineral rights. They change the wording of it is or not. Like you really need to know that contract. So that way you're fair, like represented correctly. So, when you're interviewing, when you're interviewing agents, ask them how, about their real estate knowledge of the contract. If they say, oh, I really know it like the back of my hand, just say, can you explain it to me? Can you explain the contract to me? And if they're kind of stumbling over their words and they're not articulating exactly what's in each paragraph, then move on to another agent. That contract can get you in or out of a lot of trouble. And it's all how you fill in those lines. Utter Bullspit that says, I love that name. What are some affordable cities, states to move to in northern or upper South? I always say Arkansas. I always want to say Arkansas. I know it's not Arkansas, and people from Arkansas hate when you say that, but I can't help it. Oh, it says, oh look, Eddie. Most affordable place to live in the United States, 2022 and 2023. I'll let you know if I agree with these. Hickory, North Carolina. Don't know the area. Green Bay, Wisconsin. It's freaking cold there. Who the heck wants to live in Green Bay? Ugh. Huntsville, Alabama. Remember we were talking about Huntsville, Alabama? Cheapest place to live. Cheap place to live too. Quad Cities. Davenport, Bettendorf, in Modeling Rock Island, Illinois. I wonder how far away that's from Chicago. I can't be like too far away in the country. Fort Wayne, Indiana. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Look at you. The sixth cheapest place to live. Just know if you go to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, you got to get yourself the chipped ham sandwich. Beaumont, Texas. That is not too far from me. I'm going to tell you, it's not the most scenic. There isn't a lot going on in Beaumont. Like there's not a lot going on in Beaumont at all. My friend used to live out there. Fayetteville, Arkansas, like I said, and Peoria, Illinois. Oh, you don't want to live in Peoria. You don't want to live in Peoria. Youngstown, Ohio. Have never been there. I hope nobody lives an hour away. Greens, Great Rapids, Michigan. Is it Des Moines or Des Moines? It is Des Moines, isn't it? Des Moines, Iowa. Grand Rapids, Michigan. That's got to be cold too. There's got a lot. You got to shovel a lot of cold there. Beaumont is Savage Scientist said Beaumont is nasty. Des Moines, Iowa. Is that the last of the list, Eddie? Yeah, I think it was the 12 top places. So yeah, if it was me, Huntsville, Alabama, here I go. That's where I would go. You don't have to shovel the cold there. I think it does have the occasional snow in Huntsville. If I was to compare the weather, I think it's more similar to like Atlanta, Georgia, or yeah, Atlanta, Georgia. People are shocked on how cold it gets here in Baton Rouge. I know it's not cold to you, Tanya, but we do have some chilly weather. You did wear a turtleneck around here.
That's true. That is accurate. It does.
Some people like
the
quiet. Some people like the quiet. It's just there's nothing to really look at. It's very flat. I mean, I like the quiet too, but there's like, I need trees. I need green. I need, I don't know. I need something more than Beaumont. But I will say they have good food because it's very close to Louisiana. So you get a lot of Tex-Mex and Louisiana food in both places. So, I mean, at least you'll have a lot to eat. And the people are nice out there. You know, you get that Southern hospitality.
Food or not, the food here in Pittsburgh is not, it's tasty, but it's nowhere near Louisiana. We talk about it every week. Steve and I are like, my husband is like, oh, we miss it. Where's the crawfish? Where's the seafood boils? Where's everything? Just everything.
Well, other than freaking chipped ham sandwiches, what the heck is Pittsburgh known for? I would like when I think of the food.
French fries on sandwiches and French fries on salads. Most places, if you don't, the default salad option is with French fries.
Shut up.
I'm 100% serious.
Absolutely horrifying.
And I learned many, many moons ago to ask for fries and cheese on the side, because if you ask for none, they get so confused and they're like, and it ends up on there anyway. So just ask for it on the side. Your face.
I'll be starving. I live in Mableton, Georgia, and on the ballot in the upcoming election is for Mableton to become its own city. Should I be worried about my property value in any way? We actually had this very same thing happen here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. There's a place, I forgot the name. Was it George? What is it? St. George. St. George. That's what it is. It's right up the road. And is it St. Gabriel, St. George? Anyways, they wanted to exit where they had the mall, and they wanted to create their own basically city within the city. I would really study up on, first of all, if this area that's wanting to separate has the infrastructure to actually run the city. Do they have their own fire department? Do they have their own police department? Are they going to be able to structurally do this for your area? If they don't, I'd start really like talking to all your friends and family and everything, saying this is not a smart idea, because the first time somebody's house lights on fire, that's it. You can't turn back from that. St. George, St. George, St. George, and that was the problem. That would have been the city of St. George that was going to secede from Baton Rouge, and they had been talking about it for 5 years. I mean, and they got a lot of headway. There was a lot of news around it. People are like, yeah, I mean, why are we paying taxes for all this area of Baton Rouge when we could really, service our area? Because there's a lot of high income homes in this specific area that would be considered the city of St. George. And that's what they wanted to do. Well, it didn't really work out for them. Yeah. It would, like, in the long run, they were like, yeah, you voted for this. Everybody voted for it, but we're not going to allow you to do it because you don't have the infrastructure to do it. I mean, like, somebody's house catches on fire, that's the end. You don't even have buses. You don't have buses to ship kids to school. That's part of your taxes. And the city of Baton Rouge wasn't going to give over the buses just because these people are whining that they have to pay taxes to Baton Rouge. Like, oh, okay, you don't want to be a part of us? We'll let you have our buses. No, that's not how this works.
That Wilkinsburg and city of Pittsburgh have gone back and forth for years. It's sort of brewing a little bit more intensely than usual. And there's no clear answer as to what is in the best interest of the constituents. And that's what makes it difficult.
I don't think you should ever pull away from something unless you really have a good plan to set it up the minute everything is switched over. Like, and everybody's plan is, well, let's secede first and then we'll work it out later. That's a really bad plan. That's a very bad plan. Like, there's not one of those things that you can just take it back. You know,
Right.
it's kind of like Brexit. That wasn't a really good idea. It sounded like a good idea at the time, but now they
hit the back button.
Yeah, they can't hit the back button. Question: why doesn't anyone connect the dots that if home prices just stay flat or go up less than inflation of 9%, housing values are going down in real terms? Yes, I get what you're saying, but people are wanting because we're reflecting this on the word crash. And what people have in their brain is they want to see prices drop as much as they did during the last housing crash. They are wanting 20% to go down, 30%, where they're seeing short sales and they're getting foreclosures for a really good price, you know, with a little bit of elbow grease and some paint, you know, and some new carpet they could fix up. That's what people are hoping for. What I'm saying is it's not going to happen. Stagnation. That's what I'm getting at. I totally understand what you're saying, but people that watch my channel that love to make inflammatory comments are saying that we're going to drop 30, 40, 50% in the real estate market. And it's already happening. They say it's already happening. And I have combed through Black Knight Analytics and Core Logic, which you guys can too. It's open, free information. There is I repeat, no housing market in the United States right now that is crashing. Not one. Price reductions, yes. Crash, no. Crash, no.
Price reductions are part of a normal market, not that we're even in a normal market yet.
We still don't have enough supply of houses on the market. We just don't. Yes, the amount of mortgage. All right, so this is one of those things. They'll say mortgage applications are down 25%, and that sounds alarming. But they're comparing that to last year at this time. So so it's actually like a normal amount of people are applying for a mortgage. And a lot of places, like, they'll even say, well, a lot of these mortgage lenders are folding up. Well, a lot of these mortgage lenders depended everything. Their whole business model was on refinancing housing. And now people are like, at 6%, we're not going to refinance. And we're not that financially destitute. So their whole business plan went to poof. You know, they had to fire a bunch of staff, let them go because they had overhired. And now that the interest rates went up, that their whole business plan went to poopy.
You've been in the industry for if you've been in the industry for 5 or more years, nothing has changed for you. You're still incredibly busy as a mortgage lender, mortgage broker.
If you know how to do it right. If your whole business plan was refis, you're in bad shape. Sure. I've seen it. You know, when you know it's bad, you know I know who the bad mortgage lenders are now, because those are the ones that are now inviting me to lunch. You know, I haven't been invited to lunch from a mortgage lender in probably 3.5, 4 years. And then all of a sudden, I'm getting invited to lunch again. Question: in 2010, I bought 3 condos in Phoenix for $17,000. Fantastic. I live in one, rent 2. Any chance we're going to see such a cars?
I think he meant crash. They currently sell for approx $130K.
Agreed, it's crashed.
Any chance we are going to see a crash? If you bought 3 condos at $17,000 and you're renting them, those are income producing properties. It doesn't matter if it crashes or not. You're still going to be earning income on them. Let them go. Like, just keep holding on to them. Hold the door. Hold on. There's no reason to let them go. Not for income producing properties. You're always going to have income coming in, even if the housing market crashed and let's just say the value went back to where you bought it at. As long as people are paying rent in the same amount of rent, who cares? It doesn't matter. like people were like, oh, my house went up $400,000. And I'm like, yeah, are you selling? Well, no, we're going to hold on to it for a little bit longer. It really didn't go up anything because you're not selling. It means nothing. It's just numbers on paper. It only means something when you need to sell or you need to buy. Eddie's going to put the next question up. There we go. Brian G says, do you think that builders should switch to lower demographic price level to build houses for those who want to buy but can't afford a $300,000 house? 1,000%. 1,000%. And the only way they're going to do it, and this is the only way this can happen, because developers develop the land. The builders come in and they say, okay, this lot is going to cost me X amount of dollars. If I build this size house, this is what my spread will be, right? So they try to fit as many square feet that they can on that specific lot. If the only way this would work for home builders is either A, the government released those lots and let developers develop it for literally pennies on the dollar without a bunch of red tape, or B, the building materials to build those homes would give the builders an incentive to build those houses that small. So the building materials would be less expensive, like let's just say half the price. But the government say, yes, we'll give you these building materials, we'll give you a tax incentive to do it, and you only can build houses that are 12 to 1,400 square feet. And then all they would have to do, the government would say these are government-backed mortgages, right? So the people that would need that are usually your first-time home buyers, which would be your FHA, VA, and your rural development loans. It's very possible. And they'll say we're only accepting these. So it could work. It could work. They've done it before. It's not anything new. And any news on tiny regulations in Washington? I have not heard anything new about the regulations in Washington. I did hear in Maine, they're even letting up even more. They're opening up more land in areas that you can put a tiny home. Now, this is just a little FYI tip. If you're looking for a piece of land and you don't know or understand the state, one of the things that's a safe bet to, when you start looking and just idly looking, is to find pieces of land that are labeled rural track. They're going to have a heck of a lot less regulations on it. And if they're labeled rural track, in most cases, and I would say at least in most cases, it's going to not have an HOA. If it's labeled rural tract, there is no filed restrictions. That's the way it is in Louisiana. But that's just a safe bet. Of course, investigate that lot even more. But if you're on a rural tract, most likely you're not going to have any regulations where they tell you have to build it to a certain degree, a certain way. So just look for those first. That's your first bet, is to go look for a piece of land that's say rural tract, and then investigate that piece of property a little bit further to find out what you need to know to put a tiny home on it. Oh, this kid, I haven't seen this kid in a while. This kid says, like your new digs, Kristina. Yeah, I'm in a tiny house. Is it a house? It's a backyard workroom. That's what it is. Where's your list? You're citing the cheapest place to live. Where was that article, Eddie? Where did that come from? The cheapest places to live. I've done videos on it too. The most affordable places to buy land. It wasn't the same list because it was like 8 months ago. That came from U.S. News. Yep, U.S. News. Thank you, Eddie. Teddy Ruxpin is so good, man. He's so good.
Snooze. Whenever they publish, Kristina, I get so many questions on school districts, and they're like, well, this website says it's 8 out of 10, and this website says it's 9 out of 10. And I just direct them. I said, U.S. News and World Report really breaks it down. It just has raw numbers. This percentage of kids took this exam, and this percentage passed. This percentage of kids went to college. This percent went to the military. This percent went to trade school. This percent dropped out. It doesn't tell you, 8 out of 10. Sometimes somebody actually sent me a screenshot of a real estate website for a brokerage that I won't name. And I was like, there's no source. It was just 8 out of 10 this middle school. And I looked through the whole page. I was like, there's nothing here. And they were like, oh, yeah.
You can get yourself in trouble. as a real estate agent posting stuff like that. You can't do
No,
that.
it was a client saying to me, "Where is this 8 out of 10 coming from?" And I was like, "There's no source. There's literally no source."
Oh, I thought you said they pulled it off a brokerage website.
They did, and and it's a national brokerage.
They
Fun
get themselves in trouble for
time.
that. Yep.
Mhm.
Question: building for 1.5 years now. Wow.
Ooh,
Builder's dragging his feet. We signed a standard Texas real estate new construction contract that has some buyer protection. Would you stick with or walk away? Oh, wow. Andrew, I don't know how deep you're in this right now, but most builder contracts, and you can like this is especially for Texas. I was watching a news report about this about a couple who did just that, and it just happened like 2 months ago. They had bought a house, negotiated $400,000. Well, the market had gone up. They dragged them all the way 6 weeks before closing. These people had sold their house, had been living in an Airbnb all this time. For another like 9 months, they lived in an Airbnb. They had canceled the Airbnb because they were about to close. They had done everything that the builder kept dragging his feet like this guy did, like for poor Andrew here. And oh, well, we need to do one more thing. Oh, well, we're doing this. Oh, we need to do this. Well, they were just getting all their marketing materials because they were going to market the house, and they're listing it for $615,000 because the builder contract doesn't protect you as a buyer at all. At all. If it was me, Andrew, I would get an attorney and have them look over that builder's contract. The state contracts most likely were never signed. They were probably signed by you, but never signed by the builder. And then the builders handed over all of their contracts, and that's what you have to follow. I would get an attorney. I would. That's what I would do. Utter Bullspit says, nothing beats New Orleans food. Yeah. Yeah. And where I live is the jambalaya, the jambalaya capital of the world. Do you like jambalaya, Tanya?
Oh, I love all of it. I love all
I
of
don't
it.
like
I
jambalaya.
miss it.
I don't like
I miss
jambalaya.
it. I feel like crawfish is too much work. I like it when it's prepared for me. That's the only shtick, is that I'm like, this is a lot of labor. That's it.
Jambalaya, you have to make it in this huge pot. And it's like one of those things like if you make it and you make it right, I will eat the heck out of it. But everybody said like they either under or overcook the rice. But when you get it like and it's perfect, I will eat the heck out of it. But if it's mushy,
A gourmet chef. So there is that. Like you're a legit chef. I don't know if YouTube knows that, but you are.
no, no, I'm not. I like to cook. It is one of my I do enjoy it. Do you think that multifamily or single family is the best purchase right now, and where? Where where would you do a multifamily house? I would totally do a multifamily house, but I would do it in areas that support multifamily housing. If it's a new concept in any town, I don't think it's a good idea.
Yes.
It would not be successful here, but it's very common in like up north in New Jersey and stuff like that, and it's just not here in Baton Rouge. Now, if I had it in New Orleans, oh heck yeah. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. And that's like to know where would be what is your budget? Where what do you look? Are you looking for the south, the north, the east? What are you
Sure.
looking for? How much are you willing to spend? Is it like are you going to live on one side and somebody living on the other side? Like there's a million different factors on what makes you decide to invest and buy a multifamily homes. But yeah, they're always a good buy. 100%. I mean, to have someone else pay half your mortgage is a pretty smart idea. And you don't have to
If you're
see them.
gonna exactly. It depends if you're gonna own or occupy one side or not, because in Metro Pittsburgh, most municipalities have a requirement that the owner of the LLC, the S corp, or just the regular owner lives within X air miles of the property. And they enforce that. They will not give you a lien letter unless you show proof that you A, have a property manager, or B, you, the LLC owner, lives a certain distance away. So you have to factor that into your purchase price, check with local ordinances, see if that's required. And it's actually a good thing, it keeps blight at bay.
Oh, that's super smart. But how do
Mhm.
okay, yeah, because big investment firms have maintenance companies. Okay.
Let's get a local real estate agent or a local property manager. It's not a huge expense, but it is an expense if you're not going to own or occupy it. And the whole driving force is trying to get people to own or occupy their multifamilies or to have a local real estate investor. Like when I bought a property, I just fill it out and it's like, I live 8 miles away from one. I'm a local, I'm a local owner. They're fine with that. But it really keeps blight at bay. And Pittsburgh had that going way back because we have really honest attorneys actually who sort of write a lot of our laws. So we're very fortunate.
We had a lot of, in Orlando, there was a lot of properties that were bought during the housing boom the last time,
Mm.
and there were foreign investors, and they just kept them vacant. They would buy them and keep them
Wow.
vacant, and that happened in Canada too. They would buy them and keep them vacant. Canada, in some provinces, they made a law that stated that you couldn't have a vacant property. Like, there had to be some kind of human being living there or renting there in order to, not be fined or taxed. So, but in Orlando, it wasn't a problem. I mean, they just sat there vacant. There was a house down the street from us that the only thing was in it was boxes.
Oh my
And every
gosh.
once in a blue moon, somebody would come by and drop off more boxes. That was it. Question on a previous question, a multi versus single. I'm currently in Huntsville, Alabama. Roll Tide. I'm playing a house hack, and my budget is friendly. I would do it. I would do it 100%. I would do it. Even in Huntsville,
Definitely.
Alabama, with the price of homes, I would do it.
I'm very open about the fact that I house hacked before I got married. Like I bought my house when I was 23 and I had roommates up until we got engaged and moved in together. So, I always had to have somebody sharing those expenses with me. And that was it really propelled me to a more secure financial situation.
Mhm. Somebody asked a legitimate question, and I'm going to grab this because I know you don't see it, but I do. He said, "What do you think about rent control laws? What do you think about them?"
First,
What's that?
you want me to go first?
Yeah.
I have pretty strong feelings about it. They pick winners and losers. They fundamentally exclude a lot of people in the market, and it creates this gap, this wealth gap. It makes it ripe for abuse. The people that I know in Pittsburgh who are doing chatter about it are people who would be skimming in some way. People who are affiliated directly or indirectly, a lot of times by marriage to somebody who works in the mayor's office. And I am not a fan. I think if you keep a way to keep housing affordable is stop rewarding major builders contracts and major builders FaceTime with the political players and encourage like small time landlords because again in most cities most of the rental units are owned by people who have less than 10 units.
Um, I think this is a multi-layered question, honestly, because every area, every city, every town works a little bit different. And I think when you see no regulation whatsoever, it gets out of hand. Then you see when there's too much regulation, it gets out of hand. There has to be a happy medium for it. Because for someone who's lived in Texas their whole entire life and that's been renting, right? To see their rents go up 35% in 1 year, and then on the following year it goes up another 10%. And the landlord's justifying it by their property taxes going up, which they didn't go up that much. There has to be a way to curtail that. That is it. It's just, like they're like, oh, what? It's unfair. Yeah, it's unfair. It really is unfair. And normally I'd say let the market play it out because they can, they really honestly can play it out with more additional housing available. But there's always that red tape where like it takes a long time. You can say, oh, we're going to build more apartments, or there's plans to put in 2,000 apartments behind us, blah, blah, blah. It takes 2, 3, sometimes 10 years from the time they put out that news article, there's going to be 2,000 apartments behind us to the time it's actually completed that people are in it. The red tape needs to be stopped. There has to be a happy medium with renting. And I just, when it comes to rent control, there has to be in some areas some kind of control because it's gotten out of hand. Harry has a question. Should asking price be at or below tax assessed value now? Seems like the more reasonable price point. Should asking price be? No, it should no. The tax assessed value? Absolutely not. Half time tax assessors don't even go out there until like, I don't know, the end of the year or whatever. And tax assessed value isn't the same as the actual value of the house. Sometimes the tax assessed value is way higher than the house value because they're taking everything in consideration of the area. What do you think? Because the tax assessor always wants to value it way higher than when you could actually sell it for.
Varies by municipality a lot because not in Pittsburgh, it's people get assessed at 80%, roughly 80% of their purchase price within 2 years of purchasing. And they conduct reassessments every 10 years. However, just like they can be all over the place. You can have a cul-de-sac of homes that are worth between 250 and 300, and some people can be assessed at 100, and some people can be assessed at 275. And it depends on when they bought the house. Had they fought every single assessment? Have they not fought every single assessment? How pretty is the outside of their house? Just a lot of different factors. So I would say it has nothing to do with the market value of the house.
Absolutely not. I mean, like no. No. The tax assessor's office can't determine the value of a house. Because you know what they do? Like here, with the taxes, this is how they determine the tax assessed value. They take a satellite image, GPS, over your house, and they have this machine that draws a line of your roof line. They draw the line all the way around it, and they're like, okay, this house is 2,200 square feet. Oh, look, there's a structure here. Oh, it looks like it has permitted electricity to it. So that makes the tax assessed value this. And then they just type it. The little algorithm does the whole thing. I have not seen a guy driving around to assess tax assessed value in a very long time.
My clients got a letter and then they had no scheduled hearing. So they've had this letter for 3 months from Allegheny County and nobody ever scheduled a hearing. And I was like, don't follow up. No.
Julie Rocky has a question. Can rehab loans, Fannie Mae, Homestyle, or FHA 203K loans be used on HUD homes? Yes. You're talking about the HUD on the HUDhomestore.com? Yes, you can. We had that here because of the flood, so people were getting the 203K loans to purchase HUD home store homes. Yes, you can. Paint the roof green.
That's funny.
That's awesome. That's so smart. Adam, I like you. Adam's a smarty pants. Like green screen your house. Diamond Rush Media says, how to get pre-approved for FHA or USD? What's the difference? Nothing. It has nothing to do with like what kind of loan you're getting pre-approved for a loan. That once you've gotten all your paperwork in, your lender determines what you're pre-approved for. Sometimes you'll make the cutoff or requirements for FHA. Sometimes you'll make the cutoff and requirements for RD. They're going to try to get you the best rate or the cheapest payment, whatever you're looking for, and determine what you're pre-approved for and what you can use for your to buy a house. So you don't have to. You're not like sending in different paperwork for FHA or USDA. Like it doesn't matter. You're sending in the exact same paperwork no matter what loan you're trying to get in. Isn't that correct? Now, I will say this. I will say this. Now, if you're getting like sometimes there's state bond money, like, and they'll ask for a little extra stuff because you're getting state money. Like they want to know, like they just want to know some random weird stuff they want to know in order to give you that money for like your closing costs or whatever. But other than that, the FHA, USDA, conventional VA, there are little extra requirements for VA because you have to, of course, been in the military, and there's some more documentation for that. But the other three are the same. The other stuff is the same. Eddie Teddy's going to get the next question. Here it is. Charles says, homes in Southwest Florida have doubled. Will they can ever come down? You know, I need to have a, you know what, Charles, I need to have an agent. You know what? I'm going to write this down. Next week, I'm going to let you know. I'm not sure if we're going to, is next Sunday the last Sunday of the month?
Let me look. I think there's 2 more. Let's see. Yes, there's 2 more. Next is the 24th, and then the following's the 31st.
Well, I'm just letting you guys know I will be in Texas next weekend. So I'm most likely going to be with Jeremy Knight. But Charles, I will have somebody from Southwest Florida come on the show and we can talk about it. I've had her on a few times. Michelle B. She's out of Boca, and we can talk about what's going on in Florida. Because I haven't talked to a Florida agent in a while, so it's time. It's time. Eddie, next question, please. Oh, look, Jeremy Knight. Yeah, Jeremy Knight and I'm going to visit some tiny home communities and some builders of modular homes out there. I was supposed to go out to the tiny home village that's called Loaves and Fishes. It's the tiny home community for the homeless out there, but they're not going to let me go on. They're not going to let me go. They said no, Kristina. They had something else going on. And it wasn't they're not because of me. There's nothing wrong with me, of course. I'm like, no, they're not mad at me. Question: should I buy a tiny house in Houston, Texas? Ha 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 ha. Yeah, I would. I would buy a tiny house.
Yes.
But if I was to buy a tiny house in Houston, Texas, I would put it on stilts because Houston has had a tendency to flood. And if it was just like here, I would not put it on a slab. I'd have it where water can go underneath it. And we're talking about the tiny houses that are connected to the ground, not the ones that are on wheels. Karen Duff says, when we do buy our next home, we're considering using a VA loan. Should we be concerned about the interest rate? Is it difficult to buy a VA home's current interest rate from the seller? The sellers generally don't care if you have a VA loan or not. The only reason they cared 2 years ago is they could get their house sold a lot faster with somebody that was paying cash or a conventional loan. Generally, VA loans take a little bit more time, and there's an extra inspection that sellers have to go through in order to the house to qualify for a VA loan. And some sellers are like, I don't want to do that nonsense, especially in the last couple of years. Now the sellers have come back to earth. They realize they're not sitting on a gold mine like Scrooge McDuck. They are more willing to take loans, VA loans, FHA loans, rural development loans. They're not, snubbing their nose like I have a Gucci house and you're going to give me a VA loan. Oh no, I only accept cash. Like they're not doing that anymore.
Only cash. One thing I would recommend, Karen, is whenever you reach out to Kristina and get a real estate agent in your area, have them layer your pre-approval that's conventional, if you qualify, on top of your VA. So when I submit an offer, the listing agent and the seller is seeing that conventional pre-approval first. So their brain is being primed that this person is conventionally qualified. And then they see the VA. So they understand that it's an option to use the VA and it fights that bias that people use the VA because they don't have the down payment. and it primes the brain. Okay, they have the down payment and they're opting to use their VA benefit.
You know, I got to tell you that I'm going to tell you something. So somebody I worked with thought they were being clever, and they filled out the this is why it's so important to know your purchase agreement. In our Louisiana purchase agreement, it said, what kind of loan are you getting? And they put conventional. And they said, how much are you putting down? They said 15%. And then they put the number of how much they were actually financing, right? They get into the loan process, and the seller was having cold feet. Like, I don't know if I really want to sell this house and everything else. All of a sudden, this documentation comes over from the buyer's agent saying they needed the seller to sign off on this VA loan process stuff. Normally that wouldn't even be a thing. Like, the seller's like, yeah, whatever, just get the house sold. They're kind of in it. But the seller's like, wait a minute, this contract says conventional, and I'm not signing this, because they're gonna close with a conventional loan. That's what they said. And they were like, no, they switched to VA. And I'm like, well, they might have switched to VA, but the seller doesn't want to sell it unless it's a conventional loan. Well, what does it mean to them? I'm like, they have cold feet. Your contract says this is what they want. If they can't do it, you don't have a house anymore. And
lie. Oh my gosh, don't lie. Yeah. What's wrong with people?
It's like, we're so laid back here. Normally that wouldn't even be a problem. Normally it'd be a quick addendum. We send it back and forth. Everybody, the ultimate goal is to get the house sold. This person wants to buy it. This one wants to sell it. You know, normally it's not even a thing. But because the seller had cold feet, they were looking for any loophole under the sun not to sell this house. So when that came up, he got to keep his house. And you know what's funny? It flooded a year later. Shouldn't have kept that house. Shouldn't have kept that house. So Serenity Cow says, is there any chance you have one of these popular YouTube crash predictor streamers on for debate? Call them out for their false statements, or is it too toxic? Probably too toxic. Here's the thing. It's hard to give somebody that much energy when they believe they're so right. I don't know if you've ever argued with somebody that is so in love with their conviction and so passionate in their conviction when they're so incredibly wrong. And they'll try to talk over you. They try to attack you. They'll end up making fun of your appearance instead of using facts. And I don't have time for that. And a lot of times too, they end up pulling up charts that they will say comes from, let's just say, Core Logic. This was the one that really infuriated me. They said that this chart came from Core Logic, even had the Core Logic logo at the bottom of the chart. I'm like, I recognize that chart, but there's something weird about it. So I look it up. They added 2 more years to it because it stopped at 2020. So they added 2021 and 2022. They added it so it looked like a legitimate chart coming from Core Logic. I've never been so infuriated, but it's not. I do not want to give them the energy or the time it's just a lot of oxygen. It's just a lot of oxygen. Yeah, I would love to, but then I'm like, and then some people will say, well, I've seen it where other people have called them out. And if you read their comment section, they're like, you're just jealous of them because they get more views than you just want to hate on them because you want to sell houses. And like, in the grand scheme of things, most of you are never going to buy a house from me. I have benefit not by saying any of the information that I'm telling you. There is not, if you buy a house or sell a house and by the advice that was given to me, it means literally not a thing for me in my financial situation. I do not benefit by selling you or telling you bad information. A lot of times when you look at some of these YouTube channels that are continuously hammering in crash, collapse, all this stuff, if you look in their description, they are selling you a course on how to invest in real estate, or they're selling you their charts that they have made up about their predictions of real estate. They're selling you an online course to know how to navigate this impending housing crash. They have an agenda. I have literally not one agenda for you watching my videos, other than I want to give you the correct information, because when I went to buy a house, people were talking out the woodwork. Everybody's got advice and nobody was giving me a good advice. So that's where we're going to end it today, because we've been talking for an hour and 29 minutes. My daughter's here and she's making dinner, and I'm sure she would love me to help. We're having chicken scaparella with fettuccine alfredo. I was going to make dessert, but I didn't do it. So anyways, I hope everybody has a fantastic week. I want to thank you, Tanya Cool, with TanyaCool.com, because she's cooler than the other side of the pillow. And it's really cool right there in Pittsburgh. If you want to shovel some snow, you can go visit Tanya and look at the houses up there. My grandma used to live in Pittsburgh. Yep. Used to go out there and visit my grandma. She had a house that was totally falling apart, but she loved it. I think she had got it since the turn of the century. Yep. So go visit Tanya.
Those are actual houses I've sold, by the way. People are always like, "Oh, those are nice stock images," and I was like, "Thanks. Those are houses I actually sold."
Yeah. Congratulations. Yep. And if you need a referral for real estate, I will get in touch with you within a week to 10 days. I'm kind of slow. I'm trying not to slack as much, but within a week I'll be calling you. And you can just fill out the contact form. There's a little tab at the top that says contact, but every single tab literally takes you to the same thing, which is fill out the form. If you put your phone number, I will personally give you a phone call so we can talk about your real estate needs. If you don't leave a phone number, I can't call you. And I can connect you with a real estate agent in your area. So the website is KristinaSmallhorn.com. Thank you, everybody. And thank you so much for the 200,000 subscribers and all your time that you have spent with me on my videos. I can't tell you, because one of the most precious gifts that we can give people these days is our time. So I appreciate that more than you could possibly know. So thank you, Tanya. Thank you, subscribers. Thank you, moderators. The moderators are the best. You guys are amazing.
Okay.
Come out every single week and to make sure our chat stays good and cleaned up. I appreciate you guys. Thank you, everybody. Say goodbye. And he's going to start some music, maybe, because we need some get out of Dodge music. Oh, we'll get a virtual hug. We got a virtual hug from Diamond Rush Media. Woo! Hi, Lisa. Oh, this is like rock and roll.
Minus kid.
Broke a home for very overpriced. Yeah. Let's go.